terrible, and the invasion would have to be delayed for 24 hours. The forecast for the next day, June 6th, was still not good, but it was better, and every moment of delay now reduced the chance of catching the Germans by surprise. Eisenhower then decided to give the order to set sail and prepare for the attack. The attack on Normandy began from air, as troopers who were dropped from air with parachutes, divisions from Britain and America were dropped into enemy territory. They had the essential task of capturing key bridges, so that the Germans would not be able to launch an effective counterattack, and at the same time, eliminating some of the most deadly defenses of the Atlantic Wall. In the foreign territory, there are horrifically high casualty rates among these troops. The Allies had already established air superiority, and at 3 a.m., 5,000 Allied fighters quickly brushed away 119 enemy aircrafts, allowing the heavy bombers to begin their work. They would soon be joined by the battleships, and a heavy bombardment which swept up to 20 miles inland. Finally, the landed troops landed onto the beaches. There are 5 separate landing sites: the British and the Canadian beaches, codenamed Juno, Sword and Gold, and the 2 American sites, codenamed Utah and Omaha. After heavy fighting, all 5 were eventually captured as beachheads. The Allies had successfully established a lodgment area in occupied Europe, although not all objectives have been secured. By the end of D-Day, the Allies had landed 130,000 troops by sea and 29,000 troops by air. Determined resistance, German counterattacks and bottlenecks at beach exits prevented the Allies from achieving all objectives. The Allies had acquired a toehold in Europe, and under the cover of overwhelming air superiority, reinforcements and supplies began to pour in. After D-Day, the Canadian forces started capturing major ports and airfields. These ports allowed for the winter. The 2nd British Army had seized the port of Antwerp. As Europe's 2nd largest port, Antwerp and its 45 kilometers of docks was an ideal landing ground for supplies for the continuing war effort. The opening of the port of Antwerp was essential, since at this point, the main supply line still ran back to Normandy. However, German occupiers still controlled the Scheldt River, which connected the port of Antwerp to the North Sea, where the Allies were planning to prepare for an attack. As long as the Germans still held control of the sea, Allied shipping to the port would be impossible. The occupation of Antwerp was still not enough. All the land surrounding the Scheldt would have to be controlled first. On September 21st, they were given the order to clear out the path to the port. The plan for opening the estuary involved 4 main operations. The first was to clear the area north of Antwerp and close the South Belvend. The second was to clear the pocket behind the Leopold Canal. The third, Operation Vitality, was the reduction of the Belvend Peninsula. The final phase would be the capture of Walcheren Island. On October 2nd, the 2nd Canadian Division began its advance north from the Antwerp area to close the exit from South Belvend. Meanwhile, there was equally fierce fighting along the Scheldt's southern shore. Here the Canadian infantry encountered German resistance as they fought to cross the Leopold Canal and clear the Breskens. The terrain here was just as harsh as before. The greater part of the approach area was flooded, and there are few points where a really determined assault could be mounted with any hope of success. In addition, the country here was so flat that there was no hope of reconnaissance of enemy positions other than by air. The best place for an assault seemed to be immediately east of the 2 canals. Its northern boundary was with the border between Belgium and the Netherlands.